There's a moment in everyone's life when they stumble into something far bigger than themselves. For most of us, it's harmless, a wrong turn, an overheard conversation. But for one man, that moment would unravel one of the most sophisticated spy networks of the Cold War, and he had no idea what he'd done. His name was James Hall, a sergeant in Army intelligence, a man with access to some of America's most closely guarded secrets. But in 1988, Hall wasn't thinking about espionage or national security. He was thinking about money. He was thinking about his debts, his failing marriage, his quiet desperation. So he did what desperate people sometimes do. He reached out to the wrong people, and he started selling secrets to the KGB. For 3 years, Hall operated in the shadows, dead drops in public parks, coded messages, briefcases full of cash. He was careful, methodical. He thought he was untouchable. But what Hall didn't know was that his contact, his handler, the man he trusted with his life, was already being watched. See, the thing about spy networks is they're built on trust, and trust is fragile. One weak link, one careless moment, and the entire web begins to collapse. Hall's handler was a Soviet diplomat named Yuri, and Yuri had made a mistake. Not a big one, just big enough. He'd been photographed meeting with another American operative in Vienna. The CIA had been tracking him for months, building a case, connecting the dots. They didn't know about Hall yet, but they were getting close. Then, in 1991, everything changed. The Soviet Union collapsed, and with it, the careful architecture of secrecy that had protected Hall for years. Defectors began to talk. Files were opened. Names were whispered in interrogation rooms. And somewhere in the chaos, Hall's name surfaced, not because of something he did, but because someone else had failed. The FBI came for him in December 1992. They knocked on his door early in the morning, the kind of knock that ends one life and begins another. Hall was arrested, charged, and eventually sentenced to 40 years in prison. But here's the thing that haunts this story. Hall wasn't caught because of his own mistakes. He was caught because the system he believed in, the network he trusted, had already been compromised. He exposed a spy ring simply by being part of it when it fell apart. And that's the bitter irony. Hall thought he was the hunter, selling secrets, playing the game, but he was always the prey. The moment he made that first contact, the moment he crossed that line, his fate was sealed. He just didn't know it yet. Today, James Hall is still in prison. The secrets he sold are long obsolete. The Cold War is over. The Soviet Union is gone. But his story remains, a reminder of something we often forget, that history doesn't need heroes or villains to unfold. Sometimes all it needs is one person making one decision, not knowing that the ground beneath them has already begun to crack. The man who exposed a spy network by accident didn't mean to change anything. He just wanted to survive. And in trying to save himself, he became part of something much larger, something darker, something that would outlast him. We like to think we're in control of our lives, that our choices are our own. But sometimes the truth is simpler and more terrifying. Sometimes we're just characters in someone else's story, and we don't even know it until the final page is turned.